All right, there we go. So sorry about that. It's weird because every time I try to, like, I turn it off the Streamlabs, it like turns it off. I just assume it's going to be on every time. But you can hear me now, right? I assume you can. Yeah. So this game is actually going to be me versus Annabelle. This is round 3 of the San Antonio Club Championship. Thank you for the heads up on that because I didn't want to be talking here for like an hour by myself. Yeah, I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, so c5 got played over here. Definitely one of the best ways to be playing against this d4 opening in general. Trying to break apart the center. I play pawn to e3, knight to c6, pawn c3. We got this basic pawn formation here that gets used in the Kali, the London system, and also obviously the Torre. The only difference in these openings, as far as I know, is just the placement of the bishop. In the Kali, we're going to keep the bishop on c1. The London, you put it on f4. And then on the Torre, you're going to do this pin over here. So, basic difference right there. All right, pawn h6, bishop to h4. I did consider taking here just to make an imbalance of the position, but also it creates the imbalance and also kind of like brings the queen out the way. But I didn't think it was going to be enough here, so yeah. Pawn h6 got played. I just played the standard bishop h4. These are game 60, so these are a little difficult, at least for me to play, because I'm used to game 90. So they're like 3-hour games versus a 2-hour game. So I am playing a little bit fast here. Hey, how's it going, man? I'm just going to go my first round versus Annabelle. Bishop e7 gets played. Definitely, in my opinion, not the best place. And in all these systems, when you're playing against this pawn structure, which is, like I said, the Kali, the London system, or the Torre, you should be trying to get control over this e5 square. So the bishop definitely, I believe, belongs on d6, trying to challenge the square right here. So bishop d3, and that's why I don't like the bishop here. Bishop d3, of course, castles, getting into a typical position here. Rook e8. I mean, I know I was happy to see this. I definitely don't think that's the best move in the position. Although I don't really like the way that Annabelle plays the setup, so I'm going to keep playing it against him because I think I'm getting good positions out of this. Knight e5, why not? I'm able to grab this e5 square and then just push for a kingside attack. Knight takes, of course. Pawn takes. Knight to d7, and of course, because I'm attacking, I don't want to make too many trades. We're going to go ahead and throw this bishop back to g3. And here I have this beautiful diagonal. I've removed the knight on f6, which is very important because now the kingside attacks are going to be a lot better. Anytime your opponent loses their knight on f6 or f3, your kingside does become a bit weak. Annabelle is a very strong player and no one to mess with. In fact, like I said, in this game, although I do get a good position, you know, he was able to create some very good counterplay. In fact, I was losing at one point. Luckily, he missed an idea, and I was able to push through. So game continues. Pawn c4. This move, I definitely think this is good for me. Although I mean, it's like a good and bad thing. It gives me the d4 square, but it also gives him this juicy c5 square that can try to do like a light square bind. So it's a good and bad here. Definitely the plan for black is going to be pushing on the queen side with this thematic idea, right? Attack over here on the queen side. The problem that you can have in these kind of positions is that, well, white's going to go king side as I have more king side space. And, you know, best case scenario for black is that they could win like a pawn. Maybe they can win a bishop. Best case scenario for white, though, is I'm going to get this king, right? So those are two major differences there. Because I can still survive down a pawn. You cannot survive down a king. So game continued. Bishop c2. I did for a second think about bishop b1, but I couldn't do this to my poor rook. So I go ahead and play bishop c2. The reason why I would want to play bishop b1 is so I can try to get queen to c2 in as soon as possible to try and create weaknesses. But again, I just didn't want to be mean to my rook. So bishop c2, b5. And here I do regret this move just because of the counterplay that was created. I didn't think it was going to be that strong. I have these two bishops, so the kingside attack is going to look great when I get my queen over here. And I thought it was going to be very simple for this, but Annabelle came up with some great counterplay and some creative solutions to my problems. For that meaning, I won't say wish, but I should have probably played this a3 just to stop this b4 from happening right away. Yeah, it's the h6 is something I'm very happy to see because, of course, yeah, it's just creating weaknesses. So you're definitely right on the spot there, Echo. I'm very happy that h6 got played. It's and because these are game 60, people will make these little moves that they look like they're very nonchalant, but in the long run, like at least for players like me, I was very happy to see this, and that's what really influenced my attack here on the king side. With that being said, again, I wish I had played e3 just because I want to stop this counterplay b4. Here I thought, I'll play knight to f3, and this knight to d4 is coming, and this b4 is not going to do anything. This attack on the queen side came so fast that, oh my gosh, I just play a3 and not go into any of these crazy variations that we're about to see. b4 gets played, and I'm like, okay, let me. I was debating whether I should just take or allow the weakness on c3. Yeah, I just ended up taking. Bishop takes knight d4. I thought this was a very nice tempo, threatening knight c6, because, yeah, you don't want to lose this dark square bishop because the king side can become very weak. Again, after like queen g4, bishop f4, the king side attack looks pretty much unstoppable, at least in my opinion. Unfortunately, Hannibal plays this, the top move in the position, the only move to get equality here. He plays this very nice move, bishop a6, which, I mean, it makes complete sense, right? He develops with the threat. So, these kind of games, I'm not calculating so deeply because, again, they're game 60. So, the obvious threat here is to play pawn c3, which attacking b2 pawn and also discovering attacking on my rook. We have problems now. We have problems now. I didn't think he was going to give me his dark square bishop, so, yeah, computer's giving a3. This is giving a few different moves here. Queen g4. Yeah, I went ahead and said thank you for the bishop. I played knight c6, queen b6, knight takes, queen takes. Again, probably played a little too fast here by myself. I was like, okay, I'll just play queen g4 pretty soon, and it should not be a problem. He's attacking on b2 right now. I went ahead and played rook to b1. And if c3, I was just planning on taking and then sliding the rook over. I figured, the more open lines, my bishops can't be worse. I mean, the queen side has fallen, and that's why I should have played a3 here to stop any of this kind of counterplay from happening. At this point already, it's already giving black a negative point, a -1, or at least it's floating around that area. There's no discussion that black is better in this position now, which I definitely was starting to feel. I was like, man, where did this come from? It seems like just one or two moves, and all of a sudden I'm just in a bad position. Rook f to c8. I was happy to see that move. Queen to g4. A nice little tricky move here. Trying to stop this idea of pawn c3, which he should have played earlier, which was the top move. Obviously, I'll just take the queen. And, of course, I'm getting ready for my kingside attack. Here he played the move I saw that he was going to play. Rook to b8. So it gets the last piece into the game. Defends the queen, also helps put pressure. So you could play c3. Again, all very logical moves here. And here I played pawn to a3, with the idea being that the queen would run backwards somewhere, and then I can play my bishop f4 plan. Well, here Annibal plays this very, very strong move, which I did not. I mean, I think I glanced at the idea, but I was like, this move is not too good. It doesn't do too much. Well, it does do. It does do too much, and now I'm just getting in like this crazy bad position. Queen to d2. It is now -4 or negative yeah. I'm -4 here, so I'm basically almost down a rook now. It's amazing. This queen is just like a army of her own here. Typically, I wouldn't think this move is going to be so great, but there's some problems here that I really couldn't figure out. Luckily, I came up with some kind of solution, and Annibal did not find the right way to create the counterplay. I'll just show you some quick lines here that are just very annoying. So it's attacking the bishop. My original thought here would have been to play maybe rook to c1 and then play rook f to d1. Again, this is the flag burn, or this is burning the crops right here. I'm gonna let the queen side fall, but I'm hoping I'm gonna get enough attack on the king side. So I looked at rook c1. Unfortunately, after just a simple rook to b2 here, rook f to d1, black has this beautiful rook takes c2, and I'm like, oh my god, come on, this can't be happening. After you take the queen, rook takes, rook to d1, rook takes, queen takes. It's 3 pieces versus the queen, but there's this really important dude right here. It's called the pass pawn. That, yeah, computer's giving this negative 7.8. I almost went into this, but I was able to find a better way to play. But this was the best solution I had seen so far, and I was like, this is terrible. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible position. The other one is almost with the same kind of tactics. You play rook f to c1, and again, rook takes b2. It's like the tactics are all on Annibal's side. I mean, they say tactics flow from a superior position. His queen side was ready to roll, so the tactics are going to be with him. Obviously, I can't take back right away because queen takes c1 check is going to look a little embarrassing. So all of a sudden, I was like, my queen side is just falling here, and I couldn't figure anything out. I was like, what, can I just dodge out and play queen to d1? c3 is also still very, very annoying here, if not winning just material off the bat. This is an equal no. Which eval are you talking about? Which line? Echo? Oh man, these are terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Just -4 and everything is just getting worse and worse. So a3, queen to d2, and black is at -5 here, or -4. And each line that I was looking at was getting worse and worse. I ended up finding the only way to try and get out this, which apparently computer had found a good way against it. He missed it. I played the idea bishop to a4, attacking the knight. I assumed he was going to play knight to c5. The line after rook b to c1. Okay, let me take a look at that one real quick again. So after rook b, oh yeah, I didn't actually look at that one. So after queen there. After rook b to c1, it's just rook takes b2 here. And it's -4.6. I tried to make this bishop f4 line work, but it's just not working here. The bishop is now being attacked. The c3 pawn's coming. My rooks are running out of squares. This is just another bad line for me. But I mean, in bad positions, there's only bad bad moves, right? Yes, I'm still learning how to play these kind of positions where you have to get the f4 move in just right. So you know, I'm an e4 master, so I'm slowly making that transition to playing d4. It's a fun journey. It's a fun journey. I'm gonna have to work on this a little bit more. Against Annabelle, I think d4 is actually one of the best ways to play against him, though. So I'm pivoting. I'm starting to play d4. I played this bishop a4 to attack the knight. Knight went to c5 here, getting a tempo off the bishop, and then I was able to play rook f to d1. And here, Annabelle, to keep the advantage, would have to play, look at this sick computer move, pawn to c3. This is why I don't like playing with computers, because they play moves like this. That's crazy. Okay, so rook takes, pawn takes, rook to d1 makes sense. Wait, doesn't this just drop the pawn? Knight takes a4 is being threatened, rook to c1. Yeah, this is getting, even after like bishop d1, I calculated these lines already too. Knight d3 and yeah, this is just, this would have been a very terrible thing. Very, very terrible. Luckily, he missed the c3 again. And these moves are going to be very hard to find in these game 60s, right? So it's like, you have to keep up the tempo with the game in these ones. He played queen to a5, which is what I assumed. Bishop to c2. And here, he made, in my opinion, probably the losing plan here. I think he made the losing plan here. He plays knight to b3. At this point, it becomes equal, but at this point, it also really helps me out. If he would have played knight to d3, this will kill a lot of my counterplay because it kills my bishop. And I'm pretty much almost forced to trade here. At least I was calculating on trading. I was going to probably take, and then play bishop f4 and see what happens. But I mean, look at this killer right here. And also the rook's going to penetrate. I definitely believe this is going to be, but yeah, computer's giving this a -2.6. I'm gonna at least do those ones. Maybe I'll do like another stream because I still didn't finish the Wednesday games yet, which I'll be streaming a little bit today. So, but what's going on, Yak? So, I wanna. Luckily, like I said, he plays this other move, knight to b3, leaving my bishop open. And here I was able to find the right idea. His idea is to play knight to d2, and then, you know, it kicks my rook away so the rook can win the pawn. Very good plan, very good plan. It's just a little too slow and it allows me to start my attack. Here I got my queen, bishop, and bishop, so let's try to create some danger here. And luckily I played the right plan here. I played bishop to h4. And this is a pretty important move here because of the king and the way that the king runs. So here there's only one move. Well, actually, I guess it's only saying one move here that will get equality, which is this queen to c5, which he did not play this. If you try to play bishop f4, the problem with this move, which if they, obviously we're threatening bishop takes h6 here, there's really no good way to stop the bishop h6. You can't like play g6. You have to play either king f8 or king h8. Believe it or not, king h8 is losing by force here, which I had seen, and I was so excited to play this line. After this king to h8, this is a beautiful forced winning line here. You can just play, just like queen h. Kabir's giving like queen h5 here. Basically, you're going to sacrifice, and you just got everything going for you. Everything going for you. There's really no way to stop this attack. It's like +3 now. The problem with this position is that black can play king f8 and still maintain the advantage, which is such a crazy move to, like, you really have to understand chess, because most people that are just kind of like guessing, you can guess king h8, but this move would actually be losing. King f8 maintains the advantage and still gives them a -1 point. So the reason why I don't play bishop f4, which is, I guess, natural, is because of this king f8 move. But when you play your bishop to h4, the idea is not only, again, threatening bishop f6 to do this pin, but you're threatening this e7 d8 square, which stops the king's escape square, or escape route, right? So bishop h4 got played. Pawn to g5. Here, he just, hey Evan, how's it going, man? Thank you for all the bits, baby. Oh, I haven't gone over your game versus Loving yet, dude. I'm very excited to go over that game. I would love to know your thoughts on it, too. After g5 here, I don't know. He just freaked out here, man. I mean, and this is another one of those very hard positions. Again, if you try to play king h8, I had seen this line too. Bishop f6, why not? Forced checkmate here, which I'd seen previously. And yeah, there's just no way to stop it. If you try to take, you just take back, and queen g7 checkmate's right there. How do we stop it? If rook g8, queen h5, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, it's over. There's no good way to stop queen takes h6. Yeah, I haven't even really reviewed the game too much, so I am curious. If king f8 or king h8 instead of g5, do you play bishop? Yes, you do. And it just storms through like beautifully. This is all forced winning lines. Well, so in the king f8 ones, he won't get checkmated. If king goes to f8, I'm going to play, you could play bishop f6 here anyways, but computer's giving pawn to f4. I was still analyzing this, although I didn't think Annabelle would play this very accurate move. I think this is a hard move for most people to find. Here I did look at bishop f6, but I didn't really believe it. Yeah, so it would have been very interesting to find out what I would have actually played here. Bishop f6 I did analyze for quite a while, but it just doesn't seem like it has the juice there. After g takes, I think I calculated queen c5, and this was the problem. After queen g7 check, king e8, you can't do this check here, which is, if you can get this f7 pawn e6 and get the king running, this is bad, but this accurate queen c5 just destroys everything for white. So this bishop f6 move was not the one I was going to be, well, I hate to say I would have gambled and played, but this other f4 move is just a nice way to try and keep making progress too. Like I said, I got very lucky. He must have saw this whole king h8 idea and freaked out. I'm not sure if he ever figured king f8, or maybe he just missed the defense of this beautiful king c5. e4 is another very nice try that I was wanting to play. So e4 is with the idea with rook to d7. That's exactly right, and that's exactly what I was wanting to play in these lines. So it was like bishop h4, king f8, e4. Yeah, this is what I was fearing. You could play d4, bishop takes, rook takes, rook takes, and then queen takes e5. And then here black is just going to be doing pretty well. He stopped the attack, and I lost my bishop pair. This pawn's being pushed forward. b2 still a weakness. And now the king is going to be chilling in the center, but he's going to be okay. Yeah, I know. I was like I said, I thought today was going to be the day I lost against. Anibals beat me once out of like 4 games, which if you have to lose to a player, I'd rather lose to a strong player. So there's definitely no disrespect losing to Anibal at all. But I just don't like to lose, right? Who likes to lose? I don't want to lose. So g5 got played. And I was like, oh well, okay. From now on, the game is actually pretty simple. He freaked out, I guess, or maybe just couldn't find the right defense. Again, this is game 60, so there's not too much time. He plays g5. I calculated a lot of different lines here. Queen h5 is one of the main ones. Unfortunately, queen h5, the defense to this is just king to g7. Brandon would know what I'm talking about. I had looked at the game that Jeremy had played against Benjamin the same round, and Benjamin had lost to Jeremy's nice tactic of queen takes h6, bishop h7 checkmate idea. So that's where I was like, oh, well, I can go queen h5 and play this exact same checkmate pattern. But this king g7 kills everything. So you just have to play nice and forceful here. All the variations are perfect. We just play pawn to f4 here. We're just going to be taking this pawn, and it's just going to be game over. Queen c5, f takes g5, barbaric chess. Let's just push through. Why not? Queen takes check, king h1, queen takes e5, double check here. Oh, I'm sorry, just a single check right here. Breaks through. I calculate this all to like pretty much to the win. Yeah, king f8 is not going to be any good anymore, and these variations of king f8, h7 is what I had calculated. Computer's giving rook f1 is even a stronger idea. H7 I thought was perfect. I was hoping for like an idea like, yeah, okay, no, I won't go into it. Rook f1 I probably would play at some point. Here it was still ambiguous what I was going to do here. He played king h8, and now it's a forced checkmate here, which I'm not going to lie, I didn't see the checkmate all the way through. I just saw up, I think, like until at least winning the queen. So here, after this, the idea is that if you play bishop f6, it's game over, right? It's just game over because this bishop is helping with h7, so you could just play h8. So it's very simple. You just got to get the queen off the diagonal. And once you understand that, the moves are very simple. Rook to e1 gets played. You can't play queen to d4. The queen has no squares to move to on the diagonal. That's why you can't play rush and play h7. So if you go queen d4, it's good game. Queen takes, knight takes, bishop f6, and again the pawn just rolls for checkmate. So here, yeah, rook e1, rook f1. Rook f1 is probably still winning here, Evan. You do have to be a little careful here with rook g8 coming into the mix. But yeah, you know what? It says, Evan, you're good. Rook f1 still winning here. Yeah. Rook e1. This is more forced. This is leading to the forced checkmates. Here he played pawn to f5. Here I did calculate rook takes e5, which was still winning here because after pawn takes, bishop f6 check, king g8. You know, yeah. I mean, how is this not just winning? Luckily, well, I won't say luckily. Here I just found the simple move though. You just play queen g6. The threat's bishop f6 right here. So you're either going to get checkmated or lose the queen. And computer's giving checkmate in 6 and 1, 2, 3 lines, checkmate in 5, and yeah. This is just a lost position here for black because the queen cannot defend from the bishop f6, and also queen has nowhere to go. Queen g7 checkmate. Like I said, I definitely got lucky on this game that my he played the wrong move there. Low on time in these kind of positions though, it's difficult to play it, right? Yeah. I was happy. This was a fun game. I mean, it's always nice when you get a good attack, right? Again, and the rest of the game, I mean, I think it was from like move. Yeah, after g5, I'd probably spend like 5 minutes on the clock because this is just a very natural attack and very easy to calculate, especially because your opponent is trying to calculate all in their time, so you just use their time against them, right? All right, let's go to the next game. We have Brandon playing against Juan Carrizales, and it looks like Juan falls for the old tactic here. A nice tactic. So this is something for the kids. If there's any kids watching, this is definitely a good tactic to play. So let's check out this game. E4, C5. I'm off my own heart. Brandon's also an E4 master, or an E4 player. Not master yet, but I definitely say he's got a master in him. Knight F3, G6. Going to this accelerated dragon. I know this line. Pawn to C4. He's going to be choosing to play the Marazzi bind. Bishop G7. Pawn to D4. C takes. Knight takes. All these simple moves here just going into the Marazzi bind. D6. Bishop E2. Castles. H3. A very nice move here. Stopping these knight to G4 threats. Attacking this bishop. And putting pressure on D4. Knight takes D4. Interesting move. Typically, I see this move get played, but typically I think they usually play bishop D7 and C6, but I don't know if there's such a big difference in it. Bishop takes D4. Yeah, no, I mean, black, I think this is why at the highest level a lot of masters are not playing the accelerated drag, because white can just get this very nice E4, C4, killing the D5 and B5 breaks, and they're just going to sit around and just either get their draw or they're going to get their win. Black, it's very hard to be playing for winning these positions. So definitely a very good choice here by Brandon. Bishop E6. Black is just, just being strangled here. Queen to D2. A6. Of course, Black's going to be trying to hit for his B5, but Brandon says, I see this idea, and I don't want it to happen. Castles, of course. Rook to C8. Pawn B3. And here we got the typical Marazzi bind here, just suffocating his opponent. Queen A5. Rook F to D1. Now this is a very important move because now it's going to allow what's called the Marazzi hop, which is the knight jumping to D5 in a lot of these variations. And this is exactly how Brandon's able to win this game quite easily. So, bishop to D7. And now, bishop takes F6. A very nice move here and a very nice thematic move. Yeah, I talked to Juan after the game. I was like, yeah, you fell for the tactic, or this basic tactic. He's like, basic? He's like, and I was like, yeah, you've seen this idea before, the Marazzi hop. It messes up the pawn structure. I'm not sure if he really knew it too well, but I mean, Queen E3 here? Interesting. Queen E3 is an interesting idea. It looks like he's trying to create some pressure and also take these dark squares away. I like the way Brandon played it. I definitely think this bishop takes F6 is perfect. Here you get to spot the idea and play pawn takes here. Which move is already a move you just don't want to play. Unfortunately for Juan, he missed the idea completely, and he plays bishop takes, and Brandon's more than happy in this position. He plays knight to D5, and this is the point of why you play this rook F to D1, and why when this happens you need to be very aware of it. The queen is now being attacked, it's undefended, but the real threat is to take on F6 and give this isolated pawn, just going into a winning endgame here for Brandon, and Juan was just not really up to it. Queen takes D2, check, pawn takes in here. I mean, look at this pawn structure. It's just saying this D6 pawn is a loner and he's gonna die. Rook takes D2, bishop C6. Ugh, yeah, it's already negative 0.2 here. I mean, plus 2 here. White, Brandon's just winning here. Bishop C6, attacking the pawn. Don't take right away. I mean, you could if you want to, but don't give up a good pawn for a bad pawn. Because this pawn can easily be defended, and that's exactly what Brandon does. This D6 pawn cannot easily be defended. In fact, it's already lost. Rook to E8 for some reason. Oh, looks like he's planning this F5 idea. Simple chess. King F2. Brandon sees all ideas and shuts them down. Rook to D8, attacking the D6 pawn, and double up. Here I was curious about this rook E6, but it looks like the computer's already giving it, which I'm sure Brandon would have played. Pawn C5, pinning and winning. Even bishop C4 idea here too. Yeah, this is just bad. So F5 gets played. I guess a last kind of trick here, hoping that Brandon might take right away. But of course Brandon handles this like a champ and just plays pawn takes. Pawn takes, these double pawns, and now he just takes on D6. Very, very simple endgame here to win. Pawn B4. You have 1, 2, 3 pawns versus 1, 2. Let's make a passed pawn over here. Rook to E6. Oh, even better. Let's trade more pieces off. Brandon's just having a good day here. Pawn F4. Very good move, making this a backwards pawn. and now playing g4. This king will probably run to e5 if allowed, and just put more pressure over here. So he's won on all sides of the board. Pawn b5. That's interesting. I assume you take. Oh, he played c5 here. Okay. Is that the? Yeah, c5 is the top choice move. Yeah, it was kind of. Yeah, this one was not so simple for me to take or not take. Okay, that's c5. King f6, bishop f3. And there we have the idea. Once the bishops are traded, this passed pawn will just run, and also it's not so simple to just like move it away. A move like bishop b7, winning the a6 pawn, and also getting control over c8 to win. Brandon is a mean person. I knew I liked him. So bishop d7 gets played, bishop b7, just like I said, and at that point Juan just goes ahead and throws in the towel because yeah, this is game over. He's losing a pawn, c6, c7, c8's being threatened, game over. All right, next game up we have Mitch versus Jason Bishop. I'm not sure where Jason's from. I think he's like a doctor, but he's here and I think he's visiting from somewhere. So he's actually playing our club championship just for fun. So yeah, he's joining in our third round and played the fourth round also. As you can see, he's not very high rated with 665, but with that being said, I think he played a very good game against Mitch the Master at 2000. All right, here we go. Jason's playing the white side, and Mitch is playing the black side. Mitch just does a very nice job winning this game. Pawn e4, c6, Mitch safety first, Caro-Kann player. d4, d5, knight c3, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop f5. Oh, when I was growing up, like when I was 15 or 16, I used to play this against Mitch. This is boring. Bishop to d3, interesting. Don't you just take the pawn? And he takes the pawn. Okay, yeah. So he's already messed up the line. The line that I knew when I was younger, and I don't play this line anymore, was we'd go bishop, knight to back to g3, bishop goes to g6, you play pawn h4, pawn h6, pawn h5, bishop h7, bishop d3, or I think you have to play knight f3 first to defend the pawn and then play bishop d3. It's this whole long line, and the idea is to try and grab more space on the king side, but Mitch would castle queen side, it just becomes a positional game here. Again, not a line I really enjoyed, so I had to do some research and found better ways to play against this Caro-Kann. Bishop f5 got played. He plays bishop d3 and just drops a pawn out right away. Knight f3, of course, developing with a threat. Queen back to d8. Scandinavian style over here. Castles. Bishop takes. Queen takes. Man, Mitch says no. We're gonna trade off all the pieces now. I'm up a clean pawn. This is gonna be nice and easy. Bishop d3, e6, pawn c3. He's got the pinchers here, as a lot of the masters will say. Bishop d6. Oh, interesting move here. Oh, okay. So if you do try to go snatching over here, you just take back and check, and then you'll take on h7. Okay, interesting. So bishop c2, bishop c7, bishop e3, knight b to d7, rook d2. Looks like Jason's going to go ahead and double up rooks. This position is so dry, there's not really too much to do other than kind of wait around and hopefully you can defend this. Okay. Pawn h6, playing nice and slow here, h3. Let's see if he plays it. He castles. I was thinking about king e7, but I mean castles queenside is also very good. Definitely getting the rook up on the open file, challenging, and the only plan of this rook d2 was to double up rooks, which won't be happening anymore. Rook to b1. I guess he was planning on playing some kind of queenside attack, although, you know, I think your rook is actually very well placed, so if you are going to go for this, just do that already. And with that in mind, I would not have played rook to d2 because, you know, that's just wasting time. b4, a4, stuff over there. Rook b1, knight d5, bishop's attacked, rook e2, snatch. I knew he was going to snatch it. Rook takes, knight f6, the knight's going to this beautiful square now. c4, he wants to get rid of this knight so the rook can penetrate. I wonder if he'll figure that out. Bishop f4, interesting. Rook e2, pawn g5. His idea might be h5, g4 here, which I like it. Knight e5, oh, simple chess here. We're just going to go ahead and take, and penetrate. There we go, rook to d2. Rook on the second file here is just going to kill everything, double up the rooks. Very, very nice standard play here. Bishop to d1. Where is this bishop going? And you know, this is one of the problems with this bishop is like you would think this bishop's so good, but in these kind of pawn structures, the bishop is just so bad, man. Because there's like nothing for it to attack and nothing to do. I definitely like the knight in these pawn structures. Bishop d1. I guess it's trying to reroute to f3. I think so. I don't know. I don't know where that bishop's going. Rook to d8. Perfect timing. Let's develop with the threat. Bishop e2. Rook c2. Oof, game over. I'm getting ready to double up the rooks here. Also, you can't. Oh wait, yeah, and you can't go bishop d1 because you'll take on c4. Oh my gosh. Up, you took on c4, b3, rook e4. Just trading everything off here. Very, very mean. Rook d2. How many pawns up is he now? What's he? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's up 2 extra pawns right now. f3. What do you play? Knight to f6. Knight c3. Whoa. Yeah. Mitch is on it. Mitch is on it. Rook takes. Rook takes. This is not one of those endgames you would say. People say that there's rook and pawn endgames are drawn. This is not the case in this one. Rook d2. This rook is a good rook, bad rook. King c7. Mitch should probably be looking at trying to push these pawns forward. Maybe even a move like f5 here to try not let this king get in here. f5. Good move. Good move. Rook e3. That's okay. My king can just come to you. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That sucks. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jason. That hurt me. I don't know how you felt in the game, but that hurt me. I was like, oh, we'll just play king d6, and then Mitch plays f4. Oof. That will haunt my dreams tonight. All right, that was the game between Mitch Vergara versus Jason Bishop. Let's go to our 4th round game, which was a very, oh my gosh, Joel had a very good position. Unfortunately, he misses a tactic at the end. So let's take a look at this game. This is Angel versus Joel. I'm sorry. So Joel's playing the white side, and Angel's playing the black side. A Grand Prix attack. Here we go. E4, C5. Knight to C3. Definitely an anti-Sicilian line, or at least playing a close Sicilian. Knight to C6. Pawn to F4. We've got the Grand Prix now. Pawn D6. Against these anti-Sicilians, the best way to play against all these ones are going to be playing pawn to G6. The D6 lines don't tend to do very well against them. Just a little tidbit for you guys. Pawn D6, Knight F3, Bishop G4. I can understand why he wants to do this. I just don't like it. Bishop B5. As far as I see, Joel's playing the opening very, very well. Queen B6. Don't bring your queen out too early. That's what I'll tell Angel right there. I know he's going to watch the stream later, so yeah, don't bring your queen out too early. A nice move here, knight to d5, attacking the queen. Angel plays queen to a5. Of course, you're not going to go ahead and take this bishop and fall for the old family fork where you're here with knight c7 check. So, queen a5 got played. And here, yeah, computer gives bishop takes c6 here, which I agree is the best move. It seems a little weird, but yeah, I mean, I guess that or you can castle, but I definitely would be taking this knight. Pawn h3. Very, very slow move. I wonder why he plays h3 here. The bishop was moved here, obviously, to trade, right? I guess he wanted the bishop. Okay, so h3 there. Bishop takes check. Now white's just winning here, or doing better. Pawn takes, c takes d5, e takes d5, knight f6 developing with the threat, and looks like he's going to be winning his pawn back. Pawn c3, what is the move with, what? Why did he play c3 here? Huh, there's 2 undefended pawns, and he chooses to play c3. Why is he playing c3? Okay, I don't know why Joel played c3 here, guys, sorry. Computer gives c4, which I do like the most, as these are double pawns anyway, so let's just keep controlling the center here, or even castles here I would consider playing. I don't understand this move c3 too much. c4, interesting move here, making this a backwards pawn. Of course, he can still play d4 or d3 here, and also opening up for the queen to attack on the d5 square. Knight d4. Don't move the same piece twice in the opening. Here, of course, castles I'd be recommending, or again d3 or d4 here to keep developing pieces. Knight d4 got played, and now the game is equal. Joel had a good advantage at like +1, but now it is equal. Knight takes d5, and now it is not equal anymore. Here, g6 or queen takes d5 is going to keep the equilibrium. Knight takes d5 allows queen f3, and now this is a very, very annoying pin here. e6, queen to e4. I guess he's planning on f5. Okay, f5 is the threat. Computer gives a very nice idea here, pawn to b4, which I do like. If pawn takes, we just play pawn c4, pin it and win it, giving good complications here for white. The game continued. Queen e4, king to d7, g3. What was g3 doing? Huh, okay. Again, I like this f5 move. Castles is good here too. g3 gets played. Rook e8, getting out the pin and looking at these kind of ideas. King f2, not a bad move. I don't understand why he's against castling. Okay. King f2 gets played. Queen c5. King g2 getting out the pin. f5. Wow. I cannot predict these moves. Yeah, okay, so f5 gets played. Looks like he's just losing a pawn here. So pawn takes, e5. Knight e6. Looks like this loses the whole advantage. Joel was like at +2, and after this move he goes to a 0.5 here. Again, computer is giving f takes e5 to maintain the advantage, or again this idea b4, which I really like these b4 ideas because you're letting the knight jump back with a tempo, or at least maybe you could play pawn takes and get this rook active here too. So knight e6 got played. Queen to c6, rook e1, pawn takes, knight c5 check, king c7, and here it looks like Joel makes the wrong move here and gets into a lost position, which is crazy. So this is like equal position. I did criticize Angel after the game. I was like, look at you guys. You guys are on move 22, and you guys are both playing down without your bishop and a rook here. So that's way too long to not develop your pieces, guys. That's my criticism for this game. And unfortunately here, Joel plays knight takes a6 check here and gets into a lost position. And we actually did analyze this a little bit afterwards, and it was just amazing that there was really nothing you can do because of the strong move that we'll take a look at in a second. But, I mean, even now, the idea is very strong. You can't take the rook because this queen is eyeballing this queen over here. So this is like one of the cool things about this position. Knight to e3 check, king to h3, and you're just checkmating here in the middle of this game with only two pieces. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's going to be his argument when I talk to him later on. He's gonna be like, I only need two pieces to checkmate, so he doesn't need the arm. I need all my pieces working for me, but whenever you're Angel Reyes, all you got to do is you just need two pieces. I'm going to give him a two-piece. So knight takes a6 check, king to b6. The knight is now going to either be lost or you're going to be losing your queen. And unfortunately for Joel, he missed this idea completely. He goes ahead and takes. And again, we see this beautiful move. Luckily for Angel, he did not play the bad knight takes e6, king takes a6. He plays a beautiful knight to e3 double check. Joel plays king f2, thinking he just lost his queen. And Angel says, no, you lost your king. Queen to g2 for check and mate. A very, very interesting game here. As I like the way that Echo puts it, this was a funky position. We're gonna end this stream though with a very nice game by Jeremy Lovelace versus our own Benjamin Romo, one of our top scholastic players in San Antonio. Although Jeremy definitely is sticking up for us older chess players here. All right, here we go. Jeremy's gonna be playing. Oh, no! I don't want that position to be seen. Oh man, hope I didn't ruin it. Forget that. Okay, so this game right here. Jeremy's gonna be playing with the white pieces, and he's playing against Benjamin Romo as black. So I think Jeremy's like 1600, and I think Benjamin's like 1900. So this is a very big upset. Might be the biggest upset of the tournament. I don't know. We'll have to take a look afterwards. So here we go. Jeremy loves to do it. The bird. Pawn to f4 right here. I play it myself sometimes, but I definitely do not think it's the best opening. But it's definitely something I play, so I like to have fun and play as many different openings as possible. Let's see here. I botched the opening for sure. I was extra nervous for some reason, and it was messing with me. No excuse, though. He played very, very well. What should he have taken the queen? Oh, sorry, I just saw that. Let me go back real quick, guys. To be honest, there's nothing he can do here. Either you lose the queen or you lose the game. There's nothing you can do in this position. This Jeremy. Oh, okay, cool. What's up, Jeremy? Yeah, no, there's nothing you can do in this position, and that's like the most unfortunate part about this, because this knight to c5 check looks so good, but after this king c7, knight takes a6. Now the rook's attacking the queen, and after the king moves away, there's just nothing out of this. The computer gives queen d4 check as the best idea, but you just drop a piece. I mean, I think that's like best case scenario. You still have to deal with knight to e3 check ideas, so you got to move this king out the way. That's the only way to not be losing by forced checkmate. But if you're going to be down a piece, you might as well look into resigning anyways. Before the knight takes an a6. So here it's very simple. After knight c5 check, king c7, I believe you. Oh, gosh darn it. Equality is just playing the knight back to check. Equality is just giving the knight back to check here. After rook takes, f takes, knight e3 check, rook takes, here wins back the same material. And it gives us as an equal position. Yeah, no, this is a crazy position, and it's very nice that he was able to find this idea, because yeah, no, there's not many pieces left there wasn't many pieces developed, right? I'll keep criticizing for both of them for that. All right, back to the Benjamin Romo game. Jeremy Lovelace over here playing as white versus Benjamin Romo. Jeremy likes to play the bird. So f4, d5, knight f3, g6. This is actually my recommendation when you do play against the bird. I like to play this g6 line myself. E3, bishop to g7. One of the main ideas in the bird is to control this e5 square, and the bishop just does just that. Also, you can maybe play f6, e5 in the future, and it'll also stop these kind of bishop b2 plans if white doesn't play fast enough. Bishop e2. It looks like Benjamin was well prepped for this. Knight f6, castles, pawn to d3. Very, very standard here. It's almost starting to look like a reverse Dutch here, which I believe Jeremy also plays, as it also keeps up with his opening plan of this f4, f5 kind of concept. Pawn c5, knight to e5. Of course, this e5 square is one of the main places for it. I don't know about playing knight e5 right away. I probably would have played knight bd2 first or something. Computer's giving knight e5 as one of the top moves, though. Knight e5, knight c3. So, yeah, okay, this is a classical Dutch. Okay, yeah, I was like, this is looking like a Dutch reversed. Knight to e5, knight b to d7, and this is exactly where I want to play the knight to d2 first, because whenever they play to challenge us, I want to play my knight to f3 back over. And Jeremy goes ahead and plays queen to e1. It looks like Jeremy is definitely in deeper theory than I am when it comes to the playing the Dutch. Although I do play the Dutch sometimes, I play all three lines. I play the classical Dutch, I play the Leningrad, and then I also play the There's like a Nimzo one also, and then what's the last one? Maybe those are the three. Anyways, I play the Stonewall. Those are the Stonewall. So I play all the Duchess sometimes whenever I just get sick of these D4 players, but I just want to attack them, but I don't know it that well. This this Queen E1 move is a very typical maneuver. Looking to play like Queen H4 and Bishop H6. It's almost like a Grand Prix idea when you get the knight over here. And of course you can play like Rook F3, Rook H3. Again, a very barbaric plan. I love it. Let's just check and mate. Nigel Short has that great quote. People are too, what is it? It's like people are too obsessed with, pawn structures and end games. He's like, just checkmate and the game's over. Some kind of quote like that. So, Queen to B6. Oh, you did mess up the opening. Oh, okay. I just assumed you knew more than me because you play this a lot. Queen H4. Knight takes. Pawn takes. Ignoring the Queen B6 was a big mistake by me, but black was already a little bit better in general. Okay. F takes E5. Yeah, I think this whole fianchetto system is probably one of the best ways against this kind of Dutch setup. Pawn there. Ooh. So it is giving black a negative 1.4 here. So black is definitely having a decent position. Yeah, is there a way to defend the pawn? Jeremy plays knight c3. I was looking at this line just in my head right now, this d4 move, but you have this nice c takes, e takes, and then like knight takes or bishop takes because of the pin. And that's no bueno. I'm sure some of you guys might be looking at these lines where you play like queen takes e7. The computer is not really worried about this. The queen's kind of gone to the wrong square. It's sort of just giving knight takes e5, and black is just going to have good development and play here. Plus, you have like you will have in a lot of these lines when you play the Dutch, you get this backwards pawn and open file here, which will become a target. So let's see how Jeremy responds to this. Knight c3, attacking the d5 pawn. Pawn to e6. Pawn to d4. So again, he has this nice plan. C takes, e takes, bishop takes. So, wow, okay, so this actually does happen here. No way to defend it, so I just decided it was going. Yeah, no, of course, and that's how you should be looking at this, right? It's amazing how many chess players I see when they play these. They're like, I lost a pawn, and they just get so sad or depressed or whatever. And I'm just like, the game's not over. You need to like try and find compensation with it, right? And that's like one of the things that really inspires me when I see Magnus's games, because he like whenever they're looking at the game, it's like, well, when Magnus blunders, there's always compensation, right? That's how it should be when we all play. And so Jeremy obviously did this correctly because, yeah, he's down a pawn, but he's able to pull this out for a win, which is very impressive against a high-rated opponent. Rook to d1. You gotta bandage it up, stop the bleeding. Obviously, rook d1 is not the move I want to play, but I also don't want to be trading queens off and losing more pawns in the center. Bishop g7. I don't think anyone can say that, white's better or black's not winning. Black is definitely having a good position here. King h1, good move, getting out of these checking ideas. Pawn to a6. Rook to d3. Jeremy's ready for his Capablanca rook, getting ready to slide over here for the kingside attack. Definitely defendable, but lots of complications here and giving plenty of winning opportunities, which is all I care about. I just want some winning opportunities. No, to be honest, I actually missed this rook to d3 idea. It's nice that you saw the rook d1, d3. This is really nice. And rook h3 is coming. The Capablanca rook, which goes on top of the pawns. Bishop to f6. Queen to h6. Interesting move. Oh, yeah, because he just played here, right? And I'm sure if bishop g7 gets played, Jeremy is more than happy just to go queen h4 here. Just saying, you know what, if you want to keep repeating moves, I'm more than happy to. You're the higher rated player, you're up a pawn, you're the one who needs to make progress. I can just keep, going back and forth here. So bishop takes d4 was played. Rook h3. Ooh. At this point, and it looks like he just takes a bad pawn at the wrong time. Here he just has to play bishop g7, and yeah, just don't take a pawn. Don't be greedy. Why are you taking pawns when you're already up material? Get your development in. So bishop takes d4, rook h3, and now it gives white as an advantage. So, yeah, how do you stop the simple threat of queen takes h7 checkmate? It's not so simple just to play knight f6, as you just have the very easy bishop g5. Oh, let's go grab more material. No, no, no. Oh my gosh, look at how mean computer is. Bishop just takes f6 right here, because even after queen takes rook, you can just block with the knight, and there's no way to stop this checkmate. Or g7. Wow, look at that. That would have been fun to play. Although I must say, I do like the way that Jeremy finishes this game off. So rook h3, knight f6. Oh, did knight f6 get played in the game? Oh, it did. Bishop g5. It's the only way to stop checkmate, I guess, right? Computer is giving rook e8, but rook e8 is still losing. Yeah, no, d4 is, taking on d4 is just, I'm surprised that he would do that. Maybe because you were lower rated, he just, lack of respect, I'll say it like that. Knight to f6, bishop g5. Of course, Jeremy finds the simple move here, developing a piece, trying to take on f6 here. Knight to h5, and here Jeremy finds a very nice a win here. Look at this next moves up here. This is beautiful. Rook takes h5, of course, right? Of course, we're gonna do the most forcing moves. Rook takes h5, threatening queen takes h7, check and mate. G takes, and now an idea that you are here, Jeremy. So I have to ask: were you inspired by Bobby Fischer's game with this next move? I have to ask you: were you inspired by Bobby Fischer? There's a game that Bobby Fischer plays against. Gosh, I forget what his name was, but he actually he actually plays this nice idea. So here he plays bishop to f6, and this is such a beautiful idea, threatening a checkmate on g7, which, well, I mean, you have to stop it, right? But after bishop takes bishop d3, the h7 pawn cannot be blocked anymore, because the idea is to stop this pawn from being moved forward. A very, very nice idea that was played by him. I think it was Benko, right? So it was. You did think about this this idea then, huh?
You doing a lesson or a podcast?
Oh, I'm doing a live stream right now, man.
Oh, yeah?
I'm just reviewing the games from the San Antonio Chess Club.
We might have a guest.
Oh yeah, no, I figured.
We might have a guest.
Okay, cool.
You want to have him join City Champions?
Yeah. So, very nice idea here. Bishop f6, bishop takes, bishop d3, and there's no stopping this because the f pawn can't be moved. That's why this bishop f6 move is such a very nice move here, played by Jeremy. Let's see here. Exactly. Rook to d8, and now hopefully you guys know this simple 4 move. Checkmate. Bishop takes h7 check, king h8, bishop g6, and here Benjamin resigns because he knows it. Also, maybe he was just testing to make sure that Jeremy knew it. Although, if my opponent played this exact plan, I would assume they'd know it also. I'll just go ahead and finish it out. Benjamin did resign here, but after king g8, queen h7 check, king f8, queen takes f7, beautiful checkmate. And this is a miniature because this is only 26 moves. So a very nice game here played by Jeremy. Again, this idea that he played is very nice, and I almost tried to use it in my game versus Annabelle by playing this queen h6 idea with the exact same concept of bishop takes h7. Although in my game, Annabelle could have played king g7. That's why I had to play the other line of pawn to f4. Check out what line? If he tries to avoid taking the rook and play something like rook e8, it's still winning for white, but a cool line to finish is queen takes h7. Okay, so let's go back over there and take a look. So, rook takes pawn takes bishop f6. I believe this is what he's talking about right here. Or no. Oh, the rook e8 line. So there. No, it's not here. It's a little further back. Okay, so here, if he tries to play rook e8, he's saying. How are you gonna make this a lesson, coach? I definitely could. This is a very nice game that you know what? This is a good game. I probably will go over this with my students that I teach weekly. I usually take a few games that we play from the week and show our students it so they can see what the real chess players are doing. So rook to e8. here, he's saying that no, after I take on h5, if he tries to weed. Oh, okay. So this is after h5. So rook takes. Oh, he tries to play rook e8. Oh yeah. Here you just take on h7, king f8, and then rook to f1. Yeah, nice. I mean, this is just so much activity, and look at these guys over here just not doing anything. Rook to f1, queen to c7, queen h8 check. Oh my gosh. Rook f1. Oh, that's beautiful. Why can't you just play queen h8 checkmate right now? Oh, because, oh, okay, that is beautiful. So here, rook f1, there, check, and then after bishop takes, rook takes, king g7, bishop f6, checkmate. Thank you for pointing this out. This is a very... Hey man, come on.
What's up? Are you streaming or something?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. 1 second, please. All right, guys. Well, that's gonna be it for today. I might jump on in a little bit because I didn't finish going over the Wednesday games. I still have like a few more left of the Wednesday games, which are really cool that I did want to analyze. But this is it for the Thursday games. We got last round coming. I got to play against Brandon Moore, which is scaring me already. So I'm excited to play that. I think I have black against him, so definitely going to be analyzing that game next week. Rook needs to support f6. Yeah, this rook f1 move is beautiful. It gets a nice tempo off the f7 for checkmate, but the real idea is actually to guard over here on h8. I like it. All right, guys. Well, I'll go ahead and see you guys later. If you excuse me. We have the tournament this weekend if you want to play, which is going to be Saturday, Sunday in San Antonio. Live tournament. It's the May Memorial Madness. And if not, I'll go ahead and see you guys later. I'll have some more games to review from those ones too. So I'll check you guys later.